Hi, I'm Shane Wyndham. Welcome to the Drunkard's Rush. A lot of people have been here before wondering what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm alone, clearly, trying to save some money. I've got food cooking in the oven, so I'm gonna rush through this. Apologies if you were expecting hardcore review. You're probably still going to get that. Let's face it, I'm already drunk. I'm me. It is what it is. We're going to start out with Twisted Tea's Raspberry. The hard part of tonight is going to be finding the ABV on these cans. This is 5% alcohol by volume. Our question, what's your ideal speed limit on most highways? Oh, such a fancy question for such a fancy beer. It's a tea. It's a malt beverage tea. It looks like tea. It smells like raspberry tea. If you've had, God, I can't think of what they're called. You know, like the 20 ounce, the big name 20 ounce you'd get at a gas station. Those teas, that's what this is. It's just got alcohol in it. Raspberry. Raspberry smells fake as fuck. The tea smells like it was powder. It's barely carbonated at all. You don't expect much carbonation on tea. I still pick up tea. Hard to be mad at that, right? The tea punches through more than the raspberry does. Even though it tastes fake, it's still nicely sweetened. I wouldn't turn to this one, right? I much prefer just regular ass tea. But raspberry is good. And raspberry makes me think it's fighting UTIs, even though I'm thinking of cranberries. And now I'm thinking about the music group. Rest in peace, Dolores Riordan. Whatever. It is what it is. I'm going to give this, I think, professional. I am totally a professional. And this is, for what it is, it's a 6. If you're a beer enthusiast who doesn't mind trying like the early stuff, you'd probably say 5, but 6. It could be a hell of a lot better. It's not bad for what it is. Ideal speed limit on most highways? I mean, the problem is most. I feel like most of them are going to be curvy as shit and wild-ass rides, but I'm in Texas where we don't have much in the way of mountains or hills in a lot of places. And even on hills, people creep. But I have been to the mountains of Montana and Idaho and other places, Wyoming. The speed limit up there, where it snows a good portion of the year, and I mean, it's fucking 85 up there, right? I'm going to go with 80. Let's split the difference. Some would say 75, some would say 85. I'm going to go 80. I don't think my son would be mad at me for 80. 85 feels a bit excessive in the mountains. On a straightaway, oh fuck, that's my jam. But it also makes idiots comfortable, so 80. Next up, whatever this is. All I see is Dare, Risk, Dream on the back. Oh, it's Rogue. Rogue's Pumpkin Patch Ale. It's an ale brewed with roasted pumpkins, dedicated to farmers and fermenters. Supposed to go with butternut squash soup, seared venison, and shortbread cookies. I have to be honest, that shit all sounds delicious right now. This is 6.1% as I spill it all over my hand. It's got a 25 IBU and a 33 SRM. What the fuck is an SRM? Weird. It smells good. Rogue, by the way, makes one of the best beers on the planet. I can't think of what it's called right now because I'm drunk. I know you love coming here to see my dumbass talk. What is it? Hazelnut brown nectar, I think is what it is. There were a lot of this brewery's beers on the market for a minute, back in like the 2010s, and I was enjoying them, but they've kind of fallen off the map as far as distribution goes, and that is a sad state of affairs because they turn out some brews. Trying to figure out where they are. It doesn't matter. This is supposed to be a race. Question in that vein is, what's the best racing game of all time? It smells like a pumpkin soda. Straight up. It also kind of looks like a pumpkin soda. Like there's a little bit of carbonation there, a little bit of like malt body. You could tell it's brewed a beer with grains, but just barely. Whew. I got the sneezes. That doesn't do good for a race. Heavy on the spice, light on the body. I could see a lot of people loving that. I'm not someone who loves that. I would rather you were gentler with the spices, heavier in the body. Because I'm a beer freak. I want bread water to be bready, right? I don't want it to be light bread water with like, hey, you tossed in a bunch of fucking pumpkin pie spices. That's what this is. To be fair, it's medium. It smells really good. Pumpkin's lost on me. This is more nutmeg, a little bit of cinnamon. There's some clove there. I'm picking all that up. So it's nice. I could drink it. 6.1% will get you pretty toasted, but not too much too fast. Anyway, short of that is going to be a 6. As far as the pumpkin beer goes. Best racing game of all time. Well, I'll tell you, I was only huge into racing games on PlayStation 1. Like, I liked the original Gran Turismo. I liked, there was one where you drove motorcycles back then. It's really going to bother me because there's like 4 or 5 of them out now. But racing games, I'll tell you, what's not the best racing game of all time, even though it has amazing map variety, character variety, vehicle variety, is the most recent Mario Kart, the one on the Switch. And that's because it really, you have to go into the settings and turn off all like the on rails hand holding stuff. Like it will literally drive for you if you leave it on the default settings, which is just kind of shitty. You say racing game and my mind goes to nowhere, obviously. Burnout 3. That's where my mind goes. You want to talk about an awesome time had in cars? Exquisite. What happened to Burnout games? I mean, we got Paradise and it didn't match the original, shtick. And I like the shtick. I like the Guitar Hero and the original Tony Hawk sort of stuff. Like, I love that. You don't have to innovate on that. Just keep making games. They're fucking amazing. Said my piece. Personal shout out to my son who likes Horizon Chase Turbo, which looks like an old school racing game, but plays like a modern racing game. It's really fun to play. For what it's worth. I think part 2 is out now, much better graphics, but I'm going to go with the original. Haven't touched the second one, so I'm an idiot. Next up, we've got an India Pale Ale. This is a New Zealand-inspired hazy session from, who are you? Who made this? Deep Ellum made this, so right here in Dallas. It's 5.5%. It's called the Hop Seeker. It's part of their IPA series. Oh boy. Big head. I mean, the pour actually kind of looked like pineapple juice, so I'm going to try not to judge it negatively yet. It also kind of looked lightly hazy, like it's not going to punch enough. Question is it sexist to separate the genders of prison populations? I actually really like the smell on this one. I was going to say it's a little different. The can says variety Nectaron hops, which I feel like I've had. They have that creek water vibe that I like, but the body looks real light, so jury's out on this one. And it's hazy. I don't know shit about New Zealand, but I could totally see being island, beachy vibe, but you're hood. You know what I mean? You know where you came from. You're just on vacation. You're not living there. And if you do live there, you're homeless so you can surf. You know? I thought the light body was going to bother me. It really doesn't. This is pretty beautiful, actually. I'm struggling to form an opinion. I'm going to say 7. I think that's more than fair. You could probably go higher on this. If you hate IPAs, you're going to go lower, obviously. But true IPA aficionado, it's at least a 7. It feels really good, really crisp. It doesn't punch too hard. The hops are beautifully seen too. It's balanced. It's kind of awesome. But not something I would say is so special that it's going to be the most impressive thing. Super drinkable, and it does have a pineapple vibe to it, but not quite enough to be special. My oven has reached its desired temperature, which scares me. I'm scared I'm going to burn the house down before I'm done here. Question: sexist to separate the genders of prison populations. You know, part of me always wanted to say no. A part of me thinks that it's cruel and unusual punishment to put men and women in different prisons where they can't have intimate relationships. I know with criminals, clearly rape is going to be a big issue. Just the fact that men, as a statistic, tend to be physically more dominant than women could also be a big issue. And I've seen some people that I respect really push back hard on how you need to keep the genders separate. I'm going to be honest, I don't understand the argument. I haven't looked into it enough. I just know that I think a lot of the homosexual rapes that happen in prison, and I'm not just talking about men because I'm a male, it happens with women too in women's prisons. I'm sure rape would happen, you know, in a co-gender or gender-free type of prison. I don't know what the right answer is, but personally I tend to lean toward like separate the genders for the safety of everyone, but like allow not even prostitution. Like it's tough to say like you should be able to get laid in prison because then it's a given, right? Like they already get a free place to live and free meals, and there's a trade-off for sure, but there are people outside of prison who don't get laid. Like suddenly you've got a bunch of people that are trying to go to prison because at least they get fucked in prison. Like, I don't know what the right answer is, but we're sexual creatures. It's cruel and unusual punishment to rob human beings of their natural sexual proclivities, especially when you replace them with other proclivities because they have no other outlet, you know? So if you're homosexual, that's great. And I suspect there are plenty of homosexual people in prison. They have it better off, maybe, in certain instances than heterosexual people do. I think that's a travesty. Personally, I do, especially since we lock so many people up who don't need to be locked up, right? The murderers, the rapists, they all get out way faster than like the drug dealers. And that's bullshit. So basically my answer is fuck the police. Funnel Cake Ale from Community Beer. Community Brewing, 4.8%. So yeah, it's based on funnel cake. They're trying to tell you about a Ferris wheel and ring toss games, blah, 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 blah. Funnel cake. Question: if God turns out to be real, what would you want to ask it? I'm going to be honest. I didn't have high expectations. This smells really good. It smells the way you expect a light to medium beer to smell, but it also smells like funnel cake. Like if you're walking by the funnel cake place at the fare. You know, you're getting the fry bread, you're getting the powdered sugar that's coated on top of it. Really amazing how they manage that. But the taste, God, that's tough. It's a little too light for me. It does somewhat remind me of cream ale, which they say it's a vanilla golden ale, so that makes perfect sense. And something about it ends up being just barely sour, lightly sour. Plus, as good as it is, it's not something I would turn to like, oh, fucking, you know what we need tonight? Funnel cake. Don't get me wrong, my fat ass could be about that life, but I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm actually going to go with a 7 on it, though. I think it's pretty fucking impressive for what it is, and if you love funnel cake, that hits. That hits for sure. I think even if you just love, like, cream ale sodas, that's going to be exquisite for you. My answer to the question, real easy. God turns out to be real. The only thing I would want to ask it, why is it not obvious that you're real? Why is there no verifiable proof you are real? That's it. It seems extremely ridiculous to me that we have all these different religions, different faiths, all this curiosity about what happens after death. But we have no way to verify what actually happens after death. Lots of people saying there's a God or there's good reason to believe. And I've been down those rabbit holes plenty in the past, right? But critical thinking, understanding of science, I don't know what you want from me. It would be like, I should not have to turn to a text and like read between the lines. You know what I mean? Maybe it destroys I'm trying to be nice here. Maybe it destroys the notion of what we're doing in this life. Maybe it destroys appreciation of this life if we know that a God exists or we know there's an afterlife for sure. But so, to me, that's not a good reason to hide your existence. If you're hiding, that's akin to evil because there's so much evil in the world that goes unchecked as a result of not knowing for certain, having no verifiable, testable evidence that a God exists. So I would just want to know why. And every reason I can think in my head is bullshit, and that's why I land where I do. I wish I didn't, but because I think people like you better, right? If you're religious, because the majority of people are still religious to some degree. But I'm a good person. I want to do great in the world, and my honest belief is that there is something in the way of an afterlife. That's really just an emotional response, though, much like a lot of religious belief is. I used to say that, and I'm going to burn my food just answering this question, but I used to say, like, when it comes to things like, what do you call it? Evolution. I never understood why there was so much pushback. Like, why do you not just say that God created the rules for evolution? So that's how our universe functions. It evolves. You know, that's obvious. You still have God there. But really that does, and I saw Matt Dillahunty go hard on this recently about how it still begs the question, why are you hiding yourself, right? Why do you have to create the system in which you're hidden? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me personally. And people do like you better. I feel like if you're religious, and I tend to think on an emotional level, yes, I'm trying to leave the world better than what I found it. I want it to be better for the people who will outlive me. That's all true. I wish there was a way to keep existing in some form or fashion. But ultimately, I don't know anything about the universe before I existed, right? So I suspect I won't know anything about the universe after I exist. But maybe what happens is we're all part of the same universe, because we are, as best we can tell. So maybe we're in this vehicle, and when we step out of this vehicle, we go blank. Nothing to worry about. And then when we step into the next vehicle, we're further down the timeline of the universe, and that's even more incentive to do better in the world than we already do. And I think for me personally, that presents a better afterlife proposition than most religions do, with just scaring the shit out of you. You know what I mean? Fifth beer, Shiner Bavarian Style Amber. This is 4.9%. And there's some words. Lots of words, hard to read. It combines roasted Munich malt with rich German hops to create a refreshing craft brew, Deja Vu, a complex little beer made using old world techniques. Their Bavarian Amber has a distinctive hop floral aroma and a smooth finish. And now it's yours to cover all over again. Prost, that's correct. I am about to cover it. The pour is solid medium, right? You can tell. It's amber. It's not a red. It's not a brown. It's amber. And it's interesting. I do pick up malt. I also pick up hop. Gentle hop. Question is, do you enjoy eating alone? I can't overstate this enough. I love the smell of this beer. Absolutely love it. And the taste is that coppery malt, caramel, somewhere in the middle beauty that I love. It has sort of a basic American feel to it somewhere in there. I think it's part of the mouthfeel. It's kind of almost sour, almost cloying, but everything else about that is wonderful. That's a total 8. That's an 8. I'm going to have a little more, even though I'm supposed to be on a tight deadline because I might burn my food. I haven't talked about that, by the way. So I'm alone tonight, which means I'm not ordering out. I'm also trying to save money, which is why I'm not ordering out. So drunk person, right? Not normal everyday eating, but drunk me before I pass out at night. Lately, I want fried fucking potatoes, right? It could be French fries, tater tots, whatever. And I want like chicken strips. And then I want a bunch of sauces. Primarily in those sauces, I want a barbecue sauce, a cheddar cheese sauce, like a buffalo ranch. There's a place I like to go that has jalapeno honey mustard. But I think tonight, what I'm going to end up having, because I'm at home, is like a Cholula or Schlotsky's hot sauce. Think Louisiana hot sauce. It's going to be beautiful, assuming I don't burn the shit out of it. The answer to whether or not I enjoy eating alone is a little complicated. I'll keep it brief, though. I don't like eating alone, but I tend to. And I tend to because I like having company. I don't necessarily like talking while I'm eating. I want to just... It's kind of like people who talk through a song you're trying to enjoy. Throws me off, right? I want to focus on the song. I want to focus on the meal. If there's music playing while I'm eating, awesome. You know, I can turn a YouTube... So long as it's not asking my attention in return, we're kosher. But that's the problem. Usually you're trying to enjoy all these different things at once, and it makes me want to eat alone, even though I don't like being alone in general as a rule. I can handle it better than a lot of people, but I'm also a social butterfly. It makes no fucking sense. Last in the lineup is... Man, this is Martin House, right? Yeah, Martin House. Prickly Bear. Is it just me, or are people beginning to fill cans more than they normally do? Maybe I'm thinking of chip bags, as I try to read beers these days. I don't know. Whatever. This is a prickly pear sour that's 6%. It's got a cute little bear on it. Yeah, that's pretty much all it tells me. I'm going to guess prickly pear fruit soured ale. Prickly pear sour, the prickly bear from Martin House. The question is, how are you privileged or underprivileged? So, wombo combo in case you struggle on either side of that fence. So, just smelling it, it doesn't smell like most things, most alcoholic drinks. And I think that's because it's an unusual fruit that's sour. And it also comes across like a cider in the nose. Looks like a beer. It kind of looks like a cider. Ooh. My expression didn't do it justice. It's not overly sour. It's nicely sour. The question becomes, what does the beer taste like afterward? And how much of the prickly pear do you pick up? The prickly pear is gentle. The sour is nice. The beer is kind of non-existent, which is typical with most sours. I would say 6. I could see people going a lot higher than that. Just if you really like a solid sour or prickly pear in general. Some of the beer, the grains, the malts, all that stuff, and the after, like if you're just sitting on it, you're not drinking it, Fruity Pebbles. It's really weird. You're going to get like this warhead kick. Then you'll taste a lot of the prickly pear. It's almost like I think like cactus water, you know. And then Fruity Pebbles. The best part of this beer, honestly, is just you had a sip and now you're just sitting on it for a minute. So if you want to drink something real slow and enjoy the shit out of it, this is your key. Privileged or underprivileged? I have a feeling I'm about to burn my food. So let's get through this. I'm going to answer both ways. Sounds ridiculous because I'm trying not to burn food. But honestly, we've gotten really bad in this country about acknowledging differences in a way that makes sense, right? So many things don't make sense. So many things shouldn't make sense because we're trying to do away with certain gender norms which should not exist, right? I don't think men should get certain jobs over women in the majority of instances. But let's be real. Apart from the fact that I am not religious, I'm a little too far to the left for a lot of people. Apart from those things, I'm white. I'm hetero. You know what I mean? I'm not old yet. Like, there's a lot of ways that I feel privilege, but in our current environment, some of those things are really pushed hard back on against, like, you know, that TikTok or whatever that blew up about the dude that took the girl to the Cheesecake Factory on a date. I'm sorry, what? That's a solid place to go. It may not be like, oh, it's a place you've never heard of that's still, you know, essentially a Cheesecake Factory. You're going to pay like $40 a plate if you're actually eating all the things and ordering all the things. That's good, you know? You can take some home too if you want to. It's a really extensive menu. It's real friendly to everybody. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Where I was raised, like, if you took somebody to McDonald's, that was a big deal. And I'm going to go further than that. I think that a home-cooked meal will cost less than most things. But I think that's more romantic and engaging than how much money you spend. You know, if you're the type of person that's worried about how much money someone spends on whatever, then I don't want to be with you. If your primary goal in the morning is getting up and looking in the mirror and thinking about how much you should be valued more than what you are, you're not my kind of person. You're just not. I think you're vain. I think you're shallow. I think you're not doing a bunch of good for the world. And there is way too much of that in our society at the moment. And I'm fully of the opinion that a lot of my privilege should go away. The problem is we all exist in this capitalist system that eats profits and is screwing just about everybody. So I know 30 years ago, you could look at a white person versus a black person or a Hispanic person, really any type of immigrant. Not to say that all Hispanics and black people are immigrants, because it's not true. Black people fucking essentially built this country, and we should acknowledge that. The Native Americans were done atrociously, and the appropriation of their culture continues to be a big deal, but it just doesn't. At this point in our society, really, if you're focused on much of anything else apart from income inequality, the economic realities that we all share as the working class, you're just lost. You're lost. And I don't know what to tell you. And if you are the type that gets upset that a person comes on to you and your first thought, instead of like considering that person's feelings, like they don't know what else to do apart from express interest in you, your thought is, I'm going to share this publicly. I'm going to shame the shit out of them. They shouldn't do this. They shouldn't tell you that they're interested in you at all. Like, miss me with that. I'm lost. I don't understand what we're doing as a society. We literally procreate. That's our base instinct, is to find something that we want to have sex with and try to create offspring with it. Whether or not you can is a completely different thing. You might be males attracted to males, and you can't have babies or whatnot. It doesn't matter, right? Because the majority is still doing what needs done, and we shouldn't worry at all about how much dudes want to have sex with other dudes, or women want to have sex with other women, or mixtures, or both, or none, because it's still the minority. You don't have to worry about that shit. Privilege and underprivilege is becoming less and less of a thing, is what I'm saying. The real underprivilege for all of us is financial. It's the economic realities. And goddamn, are we getting squeezed as of late. So, step off of my soapbox and go make sure that my food's not burning. Help me keep the combo going by sharing your comments. Please tell me what you thought about these questions, about these answers. I want to know what you think. I really do. So post it in the comments. I do check this shit personally. And I'll see you next time, probably with some friends, for another round at the Banter Bar.
I'll just leave you a little sip in case you want to go back.
I appreciate the sip. I think I could drink quite a bit of this.
I just want to see how it feels in my mouth.
I guess we'll see you next time.
On the Banter Bar.
I don't think you talked enough there, man.